Hello and welcome back to the Scenario 7 podcast. My name is Sam and today I'm joined by my lovely co-host, it's Matt Collier. Matt, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, thank you, Sam. The iconic duo is back for another one. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. You're completely right. It seems to be us two a lot at the moment. It's a quite iconic duo, and today we're bringing you a preview of an iconic track, that being the Monaco Grand Prix. We will be previewing it for the race on Sunday. But before we get into talking about the track and our predictions, first of all, let's play Have I Got F1 News for You? This is the game where we look at a news item from the week that's just been. And first of all, Matt has to guess the missing word. And then we discuss the issue it brings up. So let's get straight into it. The headline, and I'll read it twice, is from Planet F1. And it is Nui, and then colon, F1 cars are heading in the blank direction. I'll read it again. Nui, F1 cars are heading in the blank direction. Matt, what do you think?
Wrong direction.
He's got it first time. I said to Matt before the podcast, there's very few things it could be. But yeah, you've got it first time. Red Bull's Adrian Newey has said rule changes in regards to the weight of the car are making the sport go in the wrong direction. The move towards increasingly heavy vehicles goes against what Newey describes as his ideal F1 regulations. And he said he would prefer low weight and aerodynamic efficiency. What do you think, Matt? What direction do you think F1 cars should be going in? Do you think they should be heavy and less aerodynamic, or low weight and more aerodynamic?
It's a difficult one. These cars aren't anywhere near as fast as they were a few years ago, so we're not breaking any new lap records, but it's very clear that these new regulations allow cars to follow a lot closer, and there's just been generally better racing. There's still quite a few issues, all the porpoising kind of stuff. But I do feel like it is getting in the right direction regarding racing. It's just a few issues that they need to sort out. So yeah, that's what I think about the issue.
Yeah, you are right. The racing this year has definitely improved. I think the issue with having heavier cars is that they're going to be more heavy on top of the regulations because you need safety. When you have these heavier cars, it means that in high-speed collisions, then more damage can be done compared to with more aerodynamic, low-weight cars. It's because of how light the cars are, they could do less damage when making contact or something like that. So from a safety point of view, it's an interesting conversation to be had. But just looking from what the new cars are bringing this year, the following is a lot better, and it just seems to be a better car as compared to in previous years, despite it not being as fast and low weight. So I think it's something that we should watch over the next few years, what happens with the regulations, because of course we are in the first year of this era, but it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on, and then it'll be easy to answer it in the future. But now let's move on to why we are here, and that's previewing the Monaco Grand Prix, starting with the track. The Circuit de Monaco is a 3.3 kilometer circuit with one DRS zone, 19 corners, and 78 laps. Matt, what do you think about this track?
Yeah, it's very difficult to overtake, but it's more about the glitz and the glamour and the history of Monaco. All the yachts, a casino. There's a lot of discussion whether it should be removed on the calendar. I've already explained it's one of those ones which is so iconic that it just has to stay. And yeah, it's still provided many great races and great memories. To name a few, Charles Leclerc, his horrible record at Monaco, Ricciardo's redemption, Bottas's pit stop conundrum. So there's still plenty of memories from Monaco that can always be quite funny to look at.
Yeah, it certainly is an iconic circuit, very narrow, many elevation changes, and a lot of tight corners. Nelson Piquet once described it, driving around Monaco, as like riding a bicycle around your living room. And I think that describes it perfectly for just how tough it is. It is iconic, but does lack overtaking, and is definitely one of the most strategy heavy tracks on the calendar. The 2003 Grand Prix witnessed a grand total of 0 passing moves, which kind of emphasizes how much overtaking really goes on. I mean, that was very rare. We definitely have some overtaking. It's never been as bad as 0 passing moves. And with the new cars, hopefully it will help, even though the track doesn't suit it. Hopefully we'll see not an abundance more. I don't think we'll see that, but hopefully we'll see a few more, definitely. But yeah, iconic circuit, very tight, very narrow. And hopefully the new cars, we can see some more exciting racing. But now it's time to pass over to Matt for a Monaco track guide using the F1 2021 game.
Hello, welcome back to the Scenario 7 track guide. Today we're going to be looking at the magnificent Monaco Grand Prix circuit. So let's get into it. So here we are at the magnificent Monaco Grand Prix circuit, with just 3 sectors and 1 DRS zone. It's extremely difficult to overtake. With just 19 corners at this track, the drivers will be very close to the barrier at every corner. So without further ado, let's get into the track. So as you approach the main straight, heading into turn 1, very difficult braking zone, 7th gear, down to 3rd gear, get as close as you can to the barrier and you go up the hill. So as we climb up through the gears, past Massimo, round the corner, past turn 4 the casino, we approach the very tricky, difficult section of the circuit, the tightest corner of the circuit. We go down to 1st gear, nice and close to those barriers, up to 2nd, slowest corner of the track. This is all about rotation. Through the corner we go, approaching turn 7, all about momentum. We keep it in 2nd, close to the barrier if possible, and we go through the tunnel, easy flat, through Portier, turn 8, through the tunnel, turn 9, 7th gear, down to 1st gear, kiss those inside barriers as close as you can, nice and easy, through one of the most iconic corners, turn 10 and 11, as we now approach one of the most iconic parts of the track, turns 13, 14, fly through there, up to 15 and 16, very tricky braking zone, down into 1st gear, get that extra rotation, past 17, approaching 18, keep it in 3rd gear, past 19, up to line, and that is a lap for the Monaco Grand Prix circuit.
Thank you, Matt. Let's look at last year's race in Monaco. It had a few iconic moments, and it started in qualifying when Charles Leclerc secured pole after crashing, causing a red flag. This meant that Verstappen lined up 2nd, Bottas 3rd, and a big shock with Lewis Hamilton lining up in 7th. Leclerc, though, did DNF on the formation lap with a gearbox issue caused by the crash. On lap 31, Valtteri Bottas DNF'd during his pit stop with a stripped wheel nut, which has got to be one of the unluckiest DNFs I've seen. On lap 32, a poor Mercedes strategy meant that Hamilton got stuck behind Gasly and Vettel in P7. And on lap 52, Lando Norris lapped Daniel Ricciardo in a very tough moment for Daniel Ricciardo during a tough first season, I think it's fair to say, at McLaren. Max Verstappen won the race with Carlos Sainz in 2nd and Lando Norris in 3rd, putting together a pretty cool podium. We had become accustomed to, before last season, I have to admit, a very similar podium. It was always Hamilton, Bottas and Verstappen, but it's cool to have a new podium. It's a very young podium with Sainz being the oldest driver, and then Hamilton got the fastest lap but stayed in 7th. Matt, what is a memory you have from the last race?
There's so many to choose from. That podium finish last year was also the same as 2011, with Red Bull winning, Ferrari second, and McLaren third. But from my memory, it has to be lap 32. Touched upon it briefly already when Vettel came out of the pits. Gasly was side by side going up turn 2, and the TV director thought, no, we've got more important things to show. Let's show Lance Stroll going over, what corner was it? Just past the swimming pool. No one near him. They were like, yeah, let's show that. That's more important. And Crofty was like, we need to know what's happened. And then the Stroll graphic comes up, and it was, yeah, that weekend was a bit of a disaster for the broadcasting at Monaco. So yeah, that was my memory from last year.
Yeah, that produced just probably, if not one of the most iconic memes from last season. It was so funny. That was replayed on TikTok. It was on everything for so long. And yeah, that really was an iconic moment. That was very funny. The memory I've gone for is Charles Leclerc's controversial pole. I mentioned it earlier, but Charles Leclerc put his car on pole on the Saturday with a decent lap, but then ended up going into a wall at turn 16, causing a red flag. And this would have been all right if lots of his rivals weren't putting in purple sectors when he went into a wall, which ended quali, full stop. So no one else could put a lap time in. It meant that a lot of cars were misplaced from where they should potentially be with how fast their car is. There's a lot of people that thought he did it deliberately. They were convinced, but it didn't really matter in the end, as he broke down on the formation lap, which was such a strange set of events that had a lot of people up in uproar. But that was my memory of the last race. Now let's go to the predictions. And before we move on to what we're predicting for Monaco, let's look at the table after Spain. This, again, I have to remind you, it's done on averages, not on points, because it allows the people that can't come on all the time due to work commitments or other commitments can still be competing for the top of the table. But the person at the top of the table keeps his place, and that is you, Matt. Matt, you are top. Your average has come down from 3.6 to 3.3 after getting 2 points in Spain, but you're still very strong at the top of the table, with second place being Joe on 2.3 points. So you've still got an average lead of 1 point, Matt. So you're staying strong. I'm in third still on 2.2 points. I got 2 points in Spain, the same amount as you, but staying the same. In fourth is Josh on 1 point, and fifth is Robert on 0.5. Now, for these predictions, we do 5 predictions before predicting the podium. These predictions are first accident, first safety car / red flag, which there wasn't in Spain, first pit stop, first blue flag, and most overtakes. For all of these, you have to say what driver and a lap that it happened, do you think it will happen on, or for most overtakes, the driver, and how many overtakes you think they will do. So I'll get us started. I'll get the ball rolling. For first accident, I've gone Kevin Magnussen lap 1. And it's nothing more than he was the driver that was involved in the accident in Spain on lap 1. So I've gone for him again. I don't have much logic with most of these, to be honest. It's just guessing a driver, guessing the lap, and hoping to get the points. But you can kind of see the drivers that are involved in a lot of the incidents. So that's why I've chosen these drivers. For first safety car / red flag, I've gone Zhou Guan Yu on lap 1. Again, not much logic behind it. First pit stop, Lance Stroll, lap 1. Just spreading my guesses around drivers that I think could be involved in early collisions. For first blue flag, I've gone Nicholas Latifi, lap 40. He has been lapped so many times this year and has been the first to be lapped most times this year. So that's why I've gone for him on lap 40. And for most overtakes, I've gone for Sergio Perez with 4. And I do have a bit of logic for this. So the driver that I think will get most overtakes will be a driver in a car that will have a mare in qualifying, a nightmare in qualifying, but is very quick. And Sergio Perez, despite being in the Red Bull, qualified 11th last year. So he is prone to not doing very well around Monaco, and it's so important to get qualifying right at this track because of the lack of overtaking. So that's my logic for it. I've gone Sergio Perez with 4. But Matt, who have you gone for your 5 predictions?
There's a few common ones. I think we know which one of them are going to be. First, accident. I've gone with Latifi lap 1. First safety car / red flag. Gone with Joe Won-Yu lap 1. First pit stop, Kevin Magnussen lap 1. First blue flag, I've gone with Latifi lap 30. I was doing some research of last year. I think the first blue flag was around lap 32, so I've gone lap 30 for this race. And then finally, most overtakes. I've gone with Fernando Alonso just because I feel like he's always really good at the start and might get a few positions off the start, and he's normally quite good at overtaking. So we've gone with Alonso with 2 overtakes.
Some interesting predictions. Just 2 overtakes for the most overtakes is very bold, but as we've mentioned a few times, it is hard to overtake here. Now let's look at the podium. And Matt, I know you have a strategy for guessing the podium, so I want you to go first because I've switched it up a bit. Who is your podium from 3rd place to 1st?
Well, I have also switched it up. I think this is a very big race for Charles Leclerc. It's either going to be redemption or another DNF that could have a massive consequence on the entire season. He DNF'd in Spain. He's got Monaco this week, and he's not exactly had the best of memories at Baku. So I feel like this could be a massive race for Leclerc. So I've gone with redemption. I think Leclerc will win. Second, I've got Verstappen, and third, I've got Carlos Sainz.
For an interesting turn up for the books, I have got the exact same podium as you. I will start in 3rd. I've got Carlos Sainz. The reason I have majority Ferrari drivers is I think this track suits Ferrari more because Ferrari do have the advantage on Red Bull when it comes to the corners, and this track is a very corner-heavy track and only has 1 DRS zone for Red Bull to use their straight line speed. So that's why I've got a more Ferrari heavy. But yeah, as you said, 3rd, I've got Sainz, did get a podium last year in 2nd. In 2nd place, I have Verstappen with, as I said, I think he will do better than Sainz, but I just think the Ferrari will be better. And then in 1st place, I've also gone for redemption, Charles Leclerc. He will win a Monaco Grand Prix one day. He will finish a Monaco Grand Prix one day. Hopefully, this is the race. He has already got his crash out of the way at Monaco this year when he crashed. I don't remember whose car he was driving, but an iconic driver's car. He's already got his crash out the way. So,
I think it was one of Niki Lauda's Ferraris.
It was, yeah, you're right. It was one of Niki Lauda's cars. So he's already crashed a Ferrari, got it out the way. He's going to win the Monaco Grand Prix. You've heard it here first. But that wraps up our podcast previewing the Monaco Grand Prix. Remember to like, subscribe, comment down below your predictions if you want to stay up to date with what is happening at the Scenario 7 podcast. Our links are in the description. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.